Hello, my name is Blake Patterson, and welcome to Real Values. On this week's episode, I discuss Kane Parsons' Backrooms. As someone unfamiliar with his YouTube following, the 20-year-old Parsons represents in his debut a natural skill for understanding the undercurrent of what can be achieved with basic elements atmospherically. It is easy to forget how important atmosphere is to a film and its creation, when many modern films have dealt superficially with setting, to the point where the filmmaker is simply interested in what is on the page. In a horror film like Backrooms, though, the atmosphere, whether it is reality or the surreal one that misremembers the real one, is part of the movie's soul. Without the visually detached consideration of each room with its isolated objects and uneven range of lighting, Backrooms would be an incomplete visual concept in need of an ethos to ground it. Through the inspiration of his web series and Will Sudick's screenplay, Parsons applies his talents to a study of trauma, with the surreal world and its architecture as a metaphor for trauma's effects on memory and how it can shape the individual's mind. The central premise concerns a furniture store owner, Chiwetel Ejiofor's Clark, and his frustrations with his job, alcoholism, and his recent divorce, which has him living at the store when he discovers the mysterious world by walking into the wall and navigating each liminal space. Although Clark is a significant part of the story, it is clear that Parsons and Sudick are invested in Clark's therapist, Renata Reinsva's Dr. Mary Klein, by framing it around her confrontation with trauma, specifically regarding her schizophrenic mother and the demolition of her childhood home. Both actors provide an emotionally authentic understanding of their characters and what consumes them psychologically. We see it in how they express dialogue, especially long explanations, as if they were only presenting a surface rather than the raw depth of who they are. Parsons and Sudick even critiqued the irony of Mary's book about doing internal work when she is still facing what happened to her at a young age. Considering his view of each liminal space as an eerily constructed setup for questions about what is hidden or will come out, Parsons's most obvious influence is Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, particularly for what Kubrick achieved in the Overlook Hotel with each hallway and room. What most impresses me about Parsons's filmmaking is how video games, specifically atmospheric horror, are likely responsible for his understanding of craftsmanship in a way that is more of a benefit than a disadvantage. From the occasional POV camera work to the bizarrely designed nature of each room, these are elements you expect from a modern video game, and you can certainly imagine what the game would be like as Backrooms evolves. However, Parsons succeeds in transcending those aesthetic obstacles by creating an absorbing vision rather than approaching each set piece artificially, which would prompt a young viewer to ask, "Where is my controller?" Parsons has taken what he has learned and applied it to a cinematic framework that allows him to experiment with the camera. Backrooms only falters in its conclusion when conveying the involvement of Mark Duplass's Phil in the Backrooms and how the company he works for as a scientist, Async, went from developing MRI machines to focusing on the backrooms. Despite the MRI angle, which relates to the theme of trauma being an architect of the mind, the conclusion is trite when it should be more affecting than it is. As I thought about the film more, it made me wish Parsons and Sudick had explored the initial dynamic between Clark and his employees, Finn Bennett's Robert Bobby Franklin and Lukita Maxwell's Catherine Cat Taylor before they were killed, because it would have been exciting to spend more time with them until their deaths before Mary eventually walked through the wall into the other world. Then the narrative could have led to a situation where Mary's confrontation with her trauma was direct in a manner that lingers with the viewer by creating vivid shots of how it affects her daily, and even more so after being chased by a large pirate version of Clark. Although the film could have benefited from another draft, Backrooms is an atmospherically unsettling work that demonstrates the promise of an artist who understands what to do visually, but is capable of better work ahead when a screenplay serves his skills effectively. It is rare for a horror movie to make me jump these days, since the recent ones I generally love are built to haunt rather than frighten, but Parsons is responsible for the first jump scare I've had in a while in the film's introduction, when the scientist is being attacked due to how he choreographs the POV camera work and edits the shot abruptly to create the effect. A lot will be stated about Parsons's young age, to the point that it will likely limit how many people view him, but any storyteller who can accomplish this effect in the first 10 minutes of their movie is worth remembering. Thank you for watching this video. Have a great night.